So now let's go ahead and move on to the MEE. And you're wondering, what is MEE? Well, that's the multi-state essay examination. Yes, essays. You don't get away from them just because you leave law school. Now, the nice thing is, there's only 6 of them. You're given 3 hours to answer the questions for 6 essay exams. That means you have 30 minutes per essay. Now, why do they have us do these essays? Didn't we deal with it enough in law school already? Well, they want to make sure that you can identify legal issues raised by hypothetical factual situation. They want you to be able to separate the relevant from the non-relevant material. Your law professors didn't always do that, so they want to make sure you can actually do that. They want to make sure that you can present a reasoned analysis of the relevant issues in a clear and concise and well-organized composition. Only law professors taught in that way. And they want to demonstrate an understanding of the fundamental legal principles relevant to the probable solution of the issue raised by the facts. Sure. So, the single most tested subject for the MEE is civil procedure. Yes, you never get away from it. Ever. So, the subjects that are tested with the MEE, you've got business associations with a focus on agency and partnership, because God knows you're going to be an agent or a partner someday. God help us all. I'm talking about you. Corporations and limited liability companies, because you got to be able to work for them companies. The next is conflicts of law. Now, this is never tested on its own. It's always combined with other subjects. So, always be looking for them conflicts. Next is constitutional law. Again, the Constitution. Lovely. Contracts, criminal law and procedure, evidence, family law, federal civil procedure. As I said before, you never get away from it. Real property, torts, trusts and estates, Uniform Commercial Code. The UCC, it's coming back again, and not just in contracts. Now, the nice thing is, you only got 6 of these questions to deal with. Now, most of the time, only 1 subject is tested per question. However, sometimes they like to commingle. Because who doesn't love a good commingling? Now, an example of this is fact of conflicts of law will never be a standalone subject. It's always tested with some other subject. Usually federal civil procedure or family law. So, recently, they have also tested criminal law and evidence together, which kind of makes sense if you think about it. You want to make sure, the attorneys in criminal law actually know how to deal with evidence. Because, Now, torts and agency, so business association and torts have been combined, which kind of makes sense because, businesses like to hurt people. Intentionally or otherwise. How about we look about how to structure an answer to one of these lovely essays of ours. All of you remember legal writing. Well, they weren't just blowing smoke up your ass. For your MEE answers, you're going to want to use IRAC, which no does not mean Irene, Rhonda, Anna, Cassie. It is not the notches on your belt. It is issue, rule, because we love our rules, analysis, and then conclusion. So you can call up and say, hey, you're guilty. Now, some people want to have, like they did in law school, this wonderful, elegant issue statement. There's no need. Keep it simple. If it's an issue about battery, put battery. Say what the issue is. Or if you want to make it a sentence, did the defendant commit battery? Is sufficient. Now, again, this is not law school. Do not argue both sides. You can acknowledge both sides, especially if you're, both sides have a strong argument, which is not likely. Because, again, they want you to be able to weed out the relevant from irrelevant facts. Now, unlike law school, you will be expected to arrive at a conclusion for each bar exam issue you are asked. Now, there's only 6 questions, but there's going to be more than 6 issues. You can plan on 12 to 18 issues. So, 2 to 3. 2 to 3 issues per essay. And the way that looks is issue. Then you just start saying your rule, then your analysis of how that rule applies, and then your conclusion. Whatever you do, it is advised not to start with crack. Not just the drug, the writing style too. Do not do conclusion, rule, analysis, conclusion. Because if you get it wrong, well, the grader's going to be biased, and it's going to pick through your answer like a fine-tooth comb. And if for some reason you have the blondest of blonde moments, and all that is in your head is helium the day of the exam, and you can't remember what your rule is, well, look at the problem. Make it up. Create the rule based on the law. Now, remember, just like with the MBE, the call of the question is going to be what you're going to pay the most attention to. What are we going to pay the most attention to? The call of the question. Now, underline your heading. So your issue, underline it. Make sure they can see it. Use paragraph breaks. Don't just indent. Actually break that paragraph up. Now, always state the rule before you ever talk about an exception. And do not be afraid to bold or emphasize keywords. Well, in the real world, it's not that great. On an examination, it makes you look smart. And you like to look smart. how are we going to study for this? I mean, it's essays. It's not multiple choice. It's a little harder. Well, if you remember, with the MBE, we're stating the rules to ourselves with each question. So that's giving us a way to practice saying these rules. And a lot of the topics go across. So, if you weren't a thespian, I said thespian, not lesbian, thespian. So if you did not partake in theta odds and your memory is shit, that's okay. Don't memorize entire sentences. Focus on the elements. Because let's think of assault. Assault is making a person afraid of. No, that's battery. See? Didn't even have to finish my thought. Because we all know the elements. The elements make it all up. So you don't have to have a perfect sentence. So, one way you can outline. Quickly write down what the issue is. The elements of the rule. If you don't have it memorized, the elements are your friends. Key facts that you'd want to analyze. And the conclusion. You've been doing this for 3 years, at minimum. You're going to jump to a conclusion on what the answer is. Might as well jot it down. And that will help reaffirm whether or not you know that rule as well as you think you do. Doesn't matter if it's wrong. This is for your practice. Now, the subjects that are different between the MEE and the MBE are few. In fact, I think there's only 5 subjects that are different. So over those 5 subjects, the only times they showed up on the MEE section of the bar exam have always, or rather have averaged out to be about 2 subjects, which means you're already studying for most of your MEE examination. And since civil procedure is more in the MBE now, there's theories that's being phased out of the MEE, but there's nothing official. So keep that in mind. It is tested in both. But that means of the 5 other topics, you're likely only going to be tested on 2 or 3 of them. I know in the past couple, like the past 4, 5, 6 years, it's been 2. I think 2017 there was 4. But that gives you an idea that a majority of the time, hey, it's okay. So, you have 30 minutes. 30 minutes for each essay. Now that tells you they're not expecting a novel. You're not writing the next great work. You're not writing a treatise. So, organize your answer around the call of the question. Omit the background information. It's okay. It's background. Now, read the facts carefully. Don't make an easy mistake because you're feeling rushed. Carefully read them. Make notes as you read them. Draw your attention to them. It's okay. The grading of these wonderfully written essays, the grading of the 30-minute masterpieces you have developed. You need an average score somewhere between a 3.9 to a 4.2 to pass. That's on a scale of 6. So, if you're looking at a jurisdiction where you have to have bar exam score that passes at 260, okay, you can skate by with 3.9. Now, if you're wanting to go to Alaska, the great frontier, well, honey, you're going to need a 4.2 average. Which out of 6, that's still not bad. So it makes it seem not as daunting. Average of 65% correct out of your MBE. Average of a 4.2 out of 6 on your MEE. Hey, this is starting to look a little easier. Okay, maybe we can do this after all, right?